Welcome to the In Season podcast, rated R for language.
None of us are doctors or neurologists. Things you're about to hear are opinions of people living with epilepsy or seizures. These are firsthand experiences. Epilepsy can cause speech problems, and medications are hard to pronounce, so please bear with me. Epilepsy can cause bad memory, so some stories will be repeated. I'm Pookie. Get ready.
What's your favorite thing to do after a bad seizure?
Sleep. I mean, I have to sleep. I've only had 3 where I pass out. So that's honestly a hard question to answer. The last seizure I had, I didn't know I had one until a few days later because I live with myself. And so yeah, I didn't know I had one. So I didn't injure myself. That was the thing. I was laying back in my lazy boy. I called a lazy girl chair. And so I didn't know I had one because I didn't injure myself. And it was just a few days later when I realized that I had a seizure. And so, I mean, I just do self-care, take it easy, rest. Can you hear my cat meowing? So I just try to practice self-care, as much as I can, which for me is resting, sleep. I have to rest. I have to let my brain rest. So self-care. That's my short answer. It was long.
Perfect. No, and an explanation is always warranted because it is such a unique condition for everybody. How about you, Raven?
I don't know if I have an answer yet. Maybe sleeping.
Yeah,
I'm
that
having
definitely
a
helps a
yucky
lot of us feel
day.
better.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of my brain's kind of slow today. But probably sleeping.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was just thinking too, the sleep really probably is like the smartest thing to do after like one of those bad ones where there are maybe some injuries, but I don't know why. I'm just always, I feel like I might wake up brain dead one of these times. And especially after a bad one for some reason, I've always got this, I don't know, nagging feeling of like, don't go to sleep.
Well,
But that's probably more psychological for me.
after I had my first floppy fish seizure where I passed out, like I had to get my continuing education done for my accountant license. I was unable to do self-study. I don't know if I shared that with you guys, but I had to I had a seizure on December 19th. By the end of the year, I had to get these tests done. And usually you can do these self-study tests where you read the material and fill in and do an answer. And so they're usually fairly easy. You can look up the answer and fill in you can look up the answer and fill in the question, and I couldn't do it. I had to let my CPA
So
license
even a process
expire.
of elimination.
Yeah, you can look up the answer in the material. I couldn't do it. I didn't have the brain capacity to do it. And so I had to let my CPA license expire, which which you can do once every reporting period, once every 3 years, I guess. I had to learn that. But that to me was very scary. I couldn't think. And so then I had to let it expire. And then we have the opportunity of within 6 months catching up uh, on our sorry, what's the word?
Like certification?
Catching up on the education requirements. We have to take a certain number of hours of education to get to keep our license. And so I was able to do that by the end of June. My surgery was June 26th. So by the skin of my teeth, I was so sick for so long with this CSF leak, cerebral spinal fluid leak, but I was able to do it.
That must
But
have been
you can't,
horrifying.
it was very hard, but you can't, for me, I couldn't think after having a seizure where I passed out. So that's what I
Exactly.
experienced, is I can't think for about a week and a half.
Oh, you are not the only one. That's for sure.
Um, Jocelyn, can you explain to me a CSF leak? Because I believe I'm having a friend
Yeah,
going through that.
I would love to explain it to you. So the cerebral spinal fluid surrounds your brain, and it surrounds your spinal cord, and it does a lot of things. But one of the things that it does is it keeps your brain in suspension so that it doesn't knock around and hit your dura. The dura is it just keeps it in suspension, which is safe, so that you don't get a concussion. And it also does a lot of other things. But I had a spontaneous leak. For me, the hole was back behind my eye. The dura is the material that holds the fluid in. And so I had a spontaneous leak. It broke. They didn't know how at the time. And so starting in August 2024, last summer, I had fluid dripping out of my left nostril. And it causes lots of problems. If you like, you can feel like you're going insane every time you sit and stand up. You get a headache. You get what's the word where you feel dizzy? Vertigo.
Yep.
Vertigo. And I'm gonna have to go for my walk, but hold on. But anyways, you get vertigo and you're gonna feel like you throw up. And so I had surgery on June 26, 2025 to fix the hole. And I feel good now. But leading up to that, I got a cough. I started peeing my pants. I mean, just the symptoms were horrible. I was put on bed rest for 2 months. And bed rest wrecks your body. So that's a little snippet of what happened to me. The CSF leak started August 2024, and I didn't have surgery until June 26th. I consider myself lucky because some people get a CSF leak and they don't know what's going on, and they can be undiagnosed for years. Years. I had that in addition to getting epilepsy all in the same year. I was having seizures where I stayed awake and watched my brain malfunction starting in June, twice a week. So I had these two things
Wow.
happen in what I call my terrible year.
Yeah, talk about such a test. All right, I don't want to keep you, but real quick, how did they diagnose that hole in the dura? Was that an MRI?
No, because they can't see it on the MRI. They
Oh,
just
okay.
knew that I had CSF leak coming out of my CSF fluid coming out of my nose. They had me catch it in a cup, and they tested it in a lab with a stick going in. They tested it in a lab, and it came back positive. But then they have to send it off to Ohio, and that took 2 weeks. And then they did see through an MRI that I had a birth defect in my skull, crib form skull back behind my eye, and that is what they think might have caused the dura to break. I had a little an encephalocele. I think that might be how you pronounce it, and that's where your brain pokes through the skull hole opening. So they fixed that too. Up the nose, they fixed that. In order to, they have to test the pressure of your CSF system, and they did a little spinal tap back in my lower spine. There was a little problem. It's not the surgeon's fault. I don't blame them. But when they were taking the needle out, something broke and it left a foreign object in between my L4, L5. So they had to pivot, and I have a scar. They had to, right here, they have to put this neon green fluid into your CSF system to see where the hole actually is. And so they drilled a hole in the top. They did a burr hole in my skull to put the fluid in. And then that's where they saw exactly where the hole was in my dura. Because they put it in the system, and it leaks out the green fluid, and they do some type of x-ray. And that's how they saw exactly where it was prior to surgery. I was under anesthesia the whole time on June 26th. And then they did the surgery up the nose. They fixed the bone hole. They fixed the dura hole. And then afterwards, they did an incision about this big up and down my spine. They went in with a microscope and got the foreign object.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a cleanup.
Yeah. I still have epilepsy. It wasn't related. But
Okay. And I mean, did all of those procedures you think exacerbate the epilepsy?
I don't know. I'm going to see my
Okay.
neurologist at the end of the month. I am experiencing this weird thing now, where I sometimes, especially when I'm tired, it sounds like my voice. I'm speaking in cadence. And when I watch TV, it sometimes sounds to me like other people are speaking with a cadence, like with a rhythm. And I emailed my neurosurgeon this morning, and he said, no, we don't think that has to do with anything having to do with a CSF leak repair or pressure in your head, we think you should talk with your neurologist. And so I messaged him. So we'll see. To me, it's kind of fun. I'm rapping into my
Yeah,
head.
right?
It's not all the time. It's very nuanced. According to ChatGPT, it could have to do with epilepsy. Um, it's not very strong, but it's definitely there. I talked with my friends, my mom. They say that I'm not speaking with a cadence or with a rhythm, but it's
No,
definitely
watching these
happening.
videos, I noticed for the first time when I started talking a lot more that I have emphasis. Like there's, like you said, that kind of rhythm, like a little bit of a cadence. I emphasize like the last syllable of every other word when I'm reading some of these posts, just to, I'm sure I'm probably just trying not to mix up the words, but listening to it back, it definitely doesn't sound normal.
Okay. So I'll let you guys
So,
know
yeah.
what my neurologist said. Now, I know that ChatGPT says things that you want sometimes. We cannot rely on ChatGPT to give us medical advice. But we'll see what my neurologist says. He's the expert. So I
There
have
you
to go
go.
for my walk. I need to get stronger. All the bed rest. Now, I'm a large person. I am definitely not in shape, but the bed rest made me very out of shape. I need to go get my stamina up. So I'm going to go for a walk. It's really nice to see you guys. I'll try to get back with you when I can, okay?
All
All right,
right,
don't
we'll
forget
be
something to drink.
here.
Yes, I'll bring water. But it's raining now. It's good for the summer and for the plants.
It's
Okay.
raining.
Bye.
Bye.
Raven, I got something for you.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's kind of for everybody. Um, throw it out there. It says, do you guys randomly drool? To be clear, I was born with epilepsy, but I'll say as a teenager, they stopped. So I'm off my meds and I have been for years. I'm 20 now, but the fam is still overly protective and paranoid of leaving me alone. I think I always drooled, but recently I think it's getting more frequent. I don't have seizures. I do have nightmares about seizures. It usually happens when I'm spaced out or laughing. Sometimes it just happens combined with mild cerebral palsy on the right side and my innate lack of social skills. It prevents me wanting to talk to anyone. I don't have good health insurance to help with my leg, but any tips to stop drooling? Yeah, I drool in my sleep, but being that I have a beard, I had to go like this a lot and get up and dry it and get paper towels in the middle of the night. Um, yeah, or I keep a paper towel next to the bed because drool and all of this beard and stuff, it's annoying in the middle of the night and can't just go back to sleep with it. Someone said, yes. And like you, it's when I'm spaced out or doing something random. I've had this since I was a kid, and my dad would laugh about how I drool, even just a drip out of my mouth with when I was a kid. I haven't noticed an uptick since my seizures haven't really become prevalent, but I'm more aware for sure. Another comment says Botox shots into the saliva glands might reduce your drooling. If you have good insurance, your doctor may ask them for pre-approval to get you no Botox treatment plan. On the treatment plan, and it is every 3 months. For me, 2 visits, my drooling stops. Oh, anybody ever had a problem drooling? I drool sometimes when I'm talking out of nowhere for no reason. I don't get it. I thought it was just me, but now I see it's not just me. Mm. Raven, you get any random drooling? Tell me it's not just me. It is just me.
I don't think they do, but are they saying things they believe not?
Your voice is way in and out. I can't hear you. Um,
We could read anything out if you put it in the chat too.
Someone said, not sure if I belong. My story. So, 22-year-old female, they, them. Please, I had a brain tumor in September of 2023. I still do. And they were only partially able to remove it. Craniotomy. So, I've got a metal plate in my head now without causing any permanent paralysis.
as it is. I still have mobility issues and very little control over my left hand, and everything seemed fine. Then in November 2024, totally out of nowhere, I think I had been overly exhausted. I had a very caffeinated beverage and had exerted myself too much. I had a seizure because it happened. It happened at a in quote special hockey team's practice that I was joining in on before. I committed to joining the team and paying the fees. I just suddenly started feeling numbness spreading all over my left side of my body, mostly noticeable in my mouth before I started seizing. I was taken to the ER and put on Keppra and then was changed to Lamictal by my neurologist in December. 2 weeks into January, I had a breakthrough seizure that happened in the same way, but my condition, no lack of sleep, no caffeine or exhaustion, was totally different. I've had quite a few auras since then, since my last surgery in January, but none of them have turned into a full blown seizure. If I'm able to get it quick enough, I can like focus my attention enough that it seems like I can stop it. But that sounds a little crazy. Okay, now that I got all the backstory out, let's get into why I'm posting here. I had an EEG done also in December while on my meds and was told they saw an epileptic form discharges or whatever, and they suspected it was epilepsy, but said they weren't fully sure because the plate can alter the recordings, and my neurologist is an epileptologist and couldn't interpret the results very well. Should I see an epileptologist to should I see an epileptologist to be sure they might be able to read my EEG more accurately, or should I assume that they likely have epilepsy now, probably caused by the brain tumor and made worse by the history of head trauma? I have multiple other underlying health conditions as well. Or a third option, I just randomly get seizures, like 4 to 5 a month, probably since the auras or seizures of their own, and don't really belong here. I'm really just not sure what to do. I have so many specialists I have to see. I dread the thought of adding another, but if I need to, I will. I just want to know what's going on. Help and advice. Um, if you're talking about this subreddit, this is where you belong. I mean, this is a good place to find help. So a lot of people can relate to you. Um, yeah, I'm not a
The thing
female.
about adding another specialist, though, I mean, if this specialist might be able to diagnose and treat the condition that could actually knock a couple other ones out, it might be worth it. I know a lot of times when one more thing goes wrong, it really does feel overwhelming to have to address that on top of everything else. But it does end up being worth it in the long run. Anything to help get off the meds. Even when it does feel kind of overwhelming.
Calling off work, perpetual guilt. Partial seizures are daily, weekly for me, so calling out typical isn't an option. But sometimes when a really bad one hits, it's necessary, like mine was this morning. Has anyone else felt extreme guilt calling off work or canceling plans because of a seizure? It's like I know I'm justified, but it's a tiny part of me that feels like I'm bullshitting. And when I called today to tell my boss there was like this in quote, here we go again tone to the convo, and I felt like a disappointment, almost as if she didn't believe me. And I've had past manager be skeptical, other managers are nice, so I'm wondering, how do y'all cope with people's views and guilt?
If somebody's not going to respect you enough to believe that this condition's affecting you, then they're not on your side.
Yeah,
A lot easier said than done.
I think your job, they should be most comforting with it, especially if they've known, which it sounds like they do. Um, you just gotta ask for more oh no, you taking the day off. But yeah, it seems like they might not accommodate you as much as sounds like. You gotta talk to a bigger boss or something, because that's wrong for them to make you feel bad about not being able to come in, especially if you call in ahead of time. I understand calling in when it's 5 minutes until clock in, but yeah, this shouldn't make anybody feel bad about having a seizure, not being able to come to work. Oh, hey,
Hey, there's
Jeff.
our man Jeff.
Hi, hi everybody.
How you doing? Nice glasses.
Thank you. How am I doing? I just got an injection on my hip, so I'm feeling okay.
You dancing, huh?
Yeah. You're looking good.
Thank you. I can see Jeff dancing while he got this shot in his hips.
Yeah, listen, why not? Take
Do a
advantage while I can.
little two-step.
If, after the numbness wears off, I won't be able to move, so I may
Yeah.
as well take advantage. I only jumped on for a minute. Hi, Raven. I only jumped on for a minute while Liz is in the store, and then I'll get back on when we get home.
Okay, okay.
How's everybody doing?
All right, all right. We were on a question a little while ago about drooling. Do you have a problem? Do you drool randomly time to time? I do in my sleep. I wake up and my beard's all wet. Is it just me?
Sometimes I do. I hadn't thought about it, but sometimes I do.
For some reason, my mouth is always, I don't know, not always full of saliva, but it's common. Like my mouth is always watering for some reason.
Yeah, I don't think I do it a lot, but I do tend to do it, I think.
Okay, maybe it's not just me. I think
Yeah.
another one you barely missed. You just got here right on time. We were talking about bosses making people feel guilty about not being able to make it to work when they call in early. Um,
That's bosses.
yeah,
I mean, it sucks, but that's that's their job is to be, pardon the expression, to be a prick.
yeah,
That's what they get paid for. And it sucks. But, personally, they probably feel bad for being that way, but that's what they're getting paid to do.
yeah. She said she got the "here we go again" tone when she talked to
Yeah.
her boss. That's messed up. Here we go
Yeah, it
again.
is messed up.
Might as well
It
get
is.
a loud gasp. Gonna
It's
go through some of these comments. First comment says, "Do you have an option to file for any FMLA? I'm approved for intermittent FMLA while I'm allowed to miss a certain amount of days over a period of time. I have my doctor fill out the paperwork again to renew it, and I'm also able to use it when I need for basically the same reason as you. Having that you're in your pocket would offer more protection and maybe let your boss know it isn't something you're just making up. Hope everything works out." What's FMLA? Anybody know? I would have to look it up, I guess.
Family Medical Leave Act, I think it
Yeah.
stands for. And that
Yeah.
shit runs out fast. I
Hmm.
think we only got like 1 day of FMLA for every other pay period or something. And I was on 2 week pay, so yeah, FMLA takes a long time to build up and it runs out really fast. And that's the only time where you can get paid and they don't count commission. It's definitely only base pay, no overtime, no if you have FMLA on any pay period, overtime turns to shit.
It's typical
So
of our government.
it's there, yeah, it's there to plan ahead for vacations basically.
Okay. Another comment from a neurologist says it's difficult to explain seizures and symptoms to people who haven't experienced it firsthand. So unless your manager is a doctor of medicine or has a PhD majoring in neurology, it's probably that they just don't understand. It would be explaining depression. It would be like explaining depression to someone who doesn't have it and getting a response of just lighten up.
At least he gets it. But,
Right.
how do you explain that to somebody?
Like I said, explaining epilepsy to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult. The just lighten up attitude. Get that too when telling people about seizures. You'll be all right. You'll get better.
Right.
There is no getting better. There's just holding off until the next one. Another comment says, I've been lucky enough to find a job with my boss, or my boss. Wife has epilepsy. Hmm. My boss's boss. Wife has epilepsy. So that'd be like my supervisor's supervisor has epilepsy. Huh. I still feel the guilt. It is more rare than you, but I had to do it yesterday. Another person said, I worked in the hospital until my condition got too bad to work, so I had a boss who understood and union stewards who would support me.
Sounds like they do tend to be more understanding when you work in a medical office,
Yeah.
if they can.
One more says, I was never sick before I had a seizure, and I got to a point where recovery was taking up too much of my time. I had to fire all my clients and stop running my business in the last year. It's too hard to keep up with appointments and rescheduling. I was booked for a year round with regulars and had no room to reschedule. Felt so bad. Still kind of feel bad because most were with me for 6 to 7 years. Everyone was very supportive and understanding. Hope to get these under control and get to working again sooner than later. Anybody go to college?
A
Online.
long, long time ago.
Did you live on campus?
Uh, I, well, at one of the colleges I went to, I did. I
Okay,
guess you
so
could call it that.
you can relate to this. Raven, you can relate to this too. I see your comment. It says dorming. Going back to school, and now that I have been diagnosed with epilepsy this time around, I am wondering if dormage is not for me. Before my diagnosis, I stayed in a one-bedroom dorm room all by myself. The next year, I have my own room in a shared apartment style dorm with friends. I'm wondering if having my own room will be an issue, even with a roommate. Why is it their job to save me from a seizure? I don't know. Um, I think you should go back to college. Don't drop out because of your epilepsy. If you do, you're gonna regret it. You're gonna be talking about the what ifs. I shouldn't have, and I should have did this. I can see it coming. Um, don't give up if epilepsy is the only reason.
But if she might be right that dorm life might not be for her. She can live off campus uh, somewhere, but a dorm might be tough for somebody struggling with epilepsy, or they need their own room. I know when I went to school, and this was a long time ago, I had 3 roommates. So, you know, I don't now. I guess it's probably there's two, and if you want to pay for it, probably singles. But I just don't know. Living dorm life is pretty open. Uh, there's people around all the time, and I think that would be tough for somebody who hasn't really come to grips with it yet.
Yeah, and then the person said they don't want to feel like a burden to basically why is their job to save me from a seizure? It's not necessarily. You can make friends and you need
Yeah,
to go to school. So I mean, yeah, that's a rough one. Especially because people are having a burden. You might feel like a burden to people who aren't or are only there for school, and they're like, why I got to go through this, and they understand. The first comment is it controlled? If so, you may just be okay. However, with our broken brain, anything can happen, even with people. No, it's not their job. However, some people are caring and will help keep an eye on you.
hi Annie.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
I'm all right, all right. We're talking about a person right now who they just got epilepsy. I believe they're been already in college, but now they're diagnosed and they have to once had a bedroom, a 1 bedroom dorm by themselves. Now the person is going to be in a 1 room shared apartment style in their own dorm with friends. And they're wondering, basically, should they go back to school? And is living in a dorm going to be a problem? And the person said, basically wondering, even with a roommate, why should it be their job to save me from a seizure? I say the person shouldn't quit going to school. There's ways to get around it. Yeah, you got plenty of time, depending on when school starts. Don't drop out. I can see people dropping out fast. The first fast answer to do. Let's just
Right.
leave.
Yeah, right. But so it sounds like the school is the one that said you have to be in a multi, like not just a individual kind of style dorm. She's moved to a different dynamic in her housing, just so she's not alone. That's kind of it's generous. I'm just gonna say that. Um, and depending on their career that they're getting education for, if they can do what they're going to do and get through their education, I would say just do what you got to do. If you don't have to drop out, you know.
Yeah. Another comment says, I would say it's important to make a roommate aware of your epilepsy before rooming with that person. If you're rooming with someone you don't know prior, I will consult your school prior because they have probably dealt with similar scenarios before this. One more. It says, make a decision based on your condition and how you personally feel about it. If you have tonic-clonic seizures in your sleep, your risk of getting hurt is much higher. And then if you have focal aware, simple partial seizures during the day, SUDEP is rare, but the risk is highest with TCs at night. How you feel about it is important too.
The key, right?
What
All right.
what are you comfortable with?
I turned to it.
Is that a preference that you can take or leave, or is it something that could reduce or increase your overall stress level? It's definitely a roommate's job to help with unexpected serious things. If your roommate wasn't breathing, you'd call 911. Said that. With that said, a roommate isn't a caregiver. Ordinarily, they shouldn't be responsible for day-to-day things. If you get a roommate, they should understand and be comfortable with the situation beforehand, not just say they are. Anybody know what MTLE is? I do not.
Mesial temporal lobe epilepsy.
Okay. I'll just say it how it is. MTLE, nightmares. I almost have nightmares. I almost never have nightmares. However, since my TLE has emerged and gotten worse, I occasionally have them in bursts. The nightmares feel like a loss of control. Could nightmares be a sign of seizures in my sleep? I usually wake up feeling panicked and or not well rested. Yesterday I had a nightmare, but ended up sleeping for 4 to 5 hours through the rest of the day, which is very unusual for me, but that does make sense since if I had a seizure. Anyone have similar experiences or comment on this situation? Says, I'm also noticing that the nightmares, maybe seizures, are linked to excessive daytime sleepiness. Has anyone noticed or heard of this? My excessive daytime naps and stuff, they were needed before B12. Shout out to Nature's Made. Yeah, if you need to take a nap, take a nap. I believe a lot of people, they take naps because it's the medication. I don't have
That's the
anything.
only thing that would make me think that it could be a seizure too, is if you feel like you need hours of sleep after. I would feel the same way, but it sounds like this MTLE is listed as the most common type of epilepsy. And I don't have a problem confusing nightmare with seizures anymore.
Yeah, I always had to have weird nightmares for some reason. I'm losing teeth or hair or something. Those are the worst ones. Yeah, one of the comments here says, I would say it could definitely be some epileptic activity. My seizures often cause me to wake up and then have a seizure, not to mention that my dreams are usually more vivid after I feel unwell throughout the day. When it comes to what I've heard from other people with epilepsy, they do tend to have vivid dreams and nightmares quite often. Not sure what caused it, especially especially in the case, but I can safely say that you're not alone. Yeah, I have nightmares, but I don't think mine's is mesial temporal lobe. Mine's from brain damage. Not exactly sure if there's another reason for that, another name. But thoughts on that, or should I move forward? Actually, I'll move forward. This one seems interesting. Says I had a seizure at work recently, and since then I feel that I am seen as the weak link at work. The head of my department also told me that I should leave my epilepsy at home and separate my personal life from work. Wow. This is a total work discrimination, in my opinion. How do I prove this and defend myself? I will not tolerate being discriminated against, no matter if mentioning this content to HR puts a target on my back. I have already mentioned it. I have a meeting with the VP of HR and my department VP next week. How should I proceed? Do I need to get a lawyer? Does anyone have legal advice? Should I be writing down the content during the meeting? I am so scared to quit my job and this recession with all the firing going on. I am also the breadwinner, but I will not tolerate being treated this way.
Definitely record every detail in any legal matter. Say that much.
I think at this point I'd get a lawyer.
Yeah, well, yeah. I hate to sound a cynic, but I got fired over a prescription because I was having focal seizures and we didn't know it. And I was taking Oxycontin. And I got fired over my opiate levels because of my whiz quiz. And it's like I have a prescription for that, but they'll find another reason. If they want you gone, they will find another reason. So we can all, say, I'm not going to tolerate being treated like that. Okay, show me how you're going to do that. There's absolutely nothing you can do. And even if you do get a lawyer, that's money gone, only to end up in the same place when they will find a reason to reduce their own liability and terminate you. So I get it. It's not fair, but they'll find a reason. So don't bother wasting money on a lawyer.
Yeah, it can be hard to find a lawyer that will take the case sometimes.
Yeah, right.
At this point, just sue them.
See, you have to have a lawyer to do that.
Yeah.
And to do that, you have to have a couple grand to hand over to the lawyer. And it's the same thing as malpractice, which is why I was like, okay, screw that. I'll just go straight to the balls. I didn't even, I no longer had the option to sue them, as far as my health, for malpractice. But my employer, when they let me go, that went public because I had a prescription. So I got fired for taking my daily prescription. And I got a thing for journalism and I knew a couple people and boom, hello, Thursday evening news. So, that company took a little bit of a hit on their PR, but nothing that really hurt them because, yeah. But they will fire you. They will find another reason to fire you. And little did I know that I was having seizures and somebody there could have told me, and they never did. So I go on to the next job, only to, face plant, turn into what do we call us? Floor testers. Yeah. So, but spending money on lawyers to do that stuff, to say, oh, I'm not going to tolerate being treated like this. I have rights. Yes, you do. But that doesn't mean you're going to get what you think you deserve. It's at least not without a cost. And how much do you want to spend is up to you and your lawyer.
First comments is I have been fired from my epilepsy as well. We really don't understand how we can't control it all the time. I used to work in childcare, and one setting told me I was health and safety risk to children. which is not true. My advice is go to the meeting and see what they have. I'm in the UK. There are unions you can go to for advice. My union helped me so much.
I could really injure a child if I fell on one. So no, I can't agree that we are not a safety risk. Just saying.
Yeah, I worked with kids. I had a seizure twice giving out pizza. Um, Kept the job though. But I also was 16 and it was a summer job, so they knew it would end. Another comment says, WTF, separate your personal life. They realize it's not like a work badge, right? You don't in quotes put on a don't have epilepsy today badge for work and then take it all off when you get home. And yeah, 100% discrimination, hostile work environment. And if they give you grief for going to HR, then it's retaliation. I started doing some research on your local workplace laws, and if you haven't already, I would document everything. What someone says and what someone says to you or has said to you, every argument with HR, and if you're able to ask a buddy or another coworker to go to that meeting, you should have a third party observer, maybe a bit more moral support. I would at least see where it goes. You may be able to resolve this with these issues and morons and make it clear how unacceptable this is, but maybe not. And keep your legal options in the back of your mind. Whatever you do not be the mad one. Stay calm, collected, and take time to answer questions, yet in a timely manner. Any frustration put out there will make you look even worse. Bring a doctor's note about what it is and what to expect, even of you knowing something is in quote official. Eye strain problems help. So I've been diagnosed with epilepsy since I was young, and while I've always been light sensitive, it recently started to kick up in severity. I recently got a new monitor. I've already turned it on. It's night light because it doesn't have the brightness setting, but even then, I'm never on it more than 4 hours because of how bad the eye strain is. It doesn't help that I'm surrounded by bright light, either the sun, technology, or just store lights. I can't escape. It's causing me to have more headaches, making me tear up constantly, and my other problems that make it hard to work and live. I've tried sunglasses, but when inside, I can't see because of how dark they are, therefore making it worse for me. I need something to darken, dampen, not block out entirely. I'm getting an anti-glare screen and screen dimming software for my computer and even eye drops. But I need something for when I'm not on my computer. Sorry for the long rant, but is there anything you suggest? Products or advice are appreciated. I used to have eye strain problems, but I think my eye strain they've just got to the worst point there is. And I got glaucoma in my right eye. So it's a little difficult at times to see with only the right eye, but I don't use the drops because of what somebody else told me it has in it and why they didn't use it, which also I should have looked up myself, but for some reason I took their word for it. And I don't wear glasses when I should. So
Screen protectors seem like a good idea, at least. The things that filter out the blue light at my face. That's kind of what I like my glasses for.
yeah, they have the screen covers, so it's dark a little bit, and then people sitting next to you can't see your screen. I like those. I heard about them. I think my sister has one. But yeah, no eye strain for me, other than my right eye having glaucoma. I think after a seizure, I feel the little strain in the eyes, but it's an after effect feeling. I'm not photosensitive, so there's that as well. First comment says, optometrist of 20 years. You mentioned drops. Are you using artificial tears regularly for dry eye? Dry eye can make light sensitive a lot worse, so use preservative-free artificial tears regularly, along with glasses with anti-glare and blue light. Help with mom with seizures. Hello, never posted on Reddit, so forgive me if I do something wrong or weird. My mom had a brain cancer, and after everything, she has begun experiencing seizures. She lives with my brother, who takes care of her. The last seizure she had was while he was asleep. The doctor said they believe she was seizing for around 15 minutes. I'm posting in hopes of getting some advice on sort of gadgets or ideas to help with notifications for when this does happen. One of my main worries is that my brother is a fairly heavy sleeper. Maybe something that could detect or notify emergency, but nothing with a button, as she is prone to accidentally push random things on accident or even on purpose sometimes. Really would hate for an ambulance to show up for no reason. I'm also unsure entirely how these things work. So if I'm wrong, please contact me. Also, I'll note that a service animal isn't an option for them for various reasons. TIA? What's TIA? TIA with a heart, so that might be the person's name.
Thanks in advance. I would say Apple Watch. Get an Apple Watch.
It sounds like two people had epilepsy. Did anybody pick up on that as I was reading it? It said she, and then she said my brother.
He's a heavy sleeper. I don't know.
Yeah, it sounds like the brother might be the caretaker for the mother who's the patient. And since she's already prone to push on buttons, maybe that's, those little necklace buttons are out of the question. And it sounds like the watch might be the best way to go because that's what can actually pick up on the seizing.
Yeah. Sia said that was really good to track them or whatever the case. Yeah. I need to get me a watch also. I've been thinking about it. I think I looked one up one day. The first comment says you can do a Google. You can search it on Google for the best seizure alert devices for seniors during sleep. And many different options come up from ranging from watches, videos, to under the mattress movement detectors. They would all alert a person on the phone who is capable of waking up. The Epilepsy Foundation was a bit more difficult to see the specific devices. Basically telling us don't go to the Epilepsy Foundation is what they're saying.
Maybe bed rails in her case might help too. Everybody feel a little more comfortable at night knowing that you won't, roll off the mattress.
I don't know why I looked up bed rails. I don't fall off my bed. I don't think I have, but seems like an interesting thing to have. Just the ones I were looking up, but I don't need bed rails. Concerns about family member recent epilepsy diagnosis. Is it severe enough to worry? I'm reaching out because I'm really concerned about a family member who was recently diagnosed with epilepsy after an EEG test. They have mostly vocal tics and experience atonic seizures about once a week. The doctors have concluded that the epilepsy isn't severe enough to require medications at this moment. However, today something happened that really made me worried. My family member was cooking when they had a myoclonic jerk and fell to the ground while holding a cooking pan. Luckily, the pan didn't fall on her, but I'm terrified that if something like this happens again, she could seriously hurt herself, especially if she were to hit her head. I'm really concerned now. Is this still considered mild epilepsy, or should I be more worried? Can epilepsy get worse or if untreated? And should we consider seeking a second opinion or additional treatment options? I really appreciate some advice or similar experiences from others who've been through this. Thank you so much. I say second opinion. Second opinion can really help. Sounds like the first one doesn't sound exactly like brushed off, but it sounds like maybe not not advocating for yourself as much as you probably could. Sometimes they take their experiences and what they've learned instead of what's really going on unless you speak up.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say if anybody left them with the impression that they don't have severe epilepsy, that's definitely a red flag. any situation that where you could be in a circumstance after a seizure and be injured. That's a severe illness. These atonic seizures are also known as drop attacks, where you could be with or without consciousness, but drop, no muscle tone, just go totally limp. And that can definitely be just as dangerous as a, full-blown tonic-clonic, depending on where you are. She had the cooking sheet in her hand. Could be carrying anything. Yeah,
This,
definitely go for the second opinion. Somebody take it seriously.
this is actually the first time I've heard of atonic seizures. Like you said, drop spells. Oh yeah, I see a picture. And like you said, just go limp. I don't think I've had those, but other names are akinetic seizure, astatic seizure. It's interesting.
That was the
First
other thing
count.
with this RNS. I never had seizures like that before the RNS, but not then they're telling me those seizures that where I don't always have convulsions and just go limp like that is actually this thing stopping it from generalizing. Epilepsy definitely changes.
Here's a comment that says, I don't know. Only her doctor can say, but there's only so much that you or she or any of us can do. My doctor's orders basically make me sound like an invalid, no cooking, no showering, no driving or bike riding or anything at all. Real alone, not anything at all, really. Alone, obviously, this is impractical. I don't drive anymore or ride a bike much, but otherwise, I have to still live my life. But if I tell my doctor about this incident, I can't see how they don't prescribe medication. It's always been if I can find an epileptologist, a regular neurologist covers such a wide range of neurological conditions and disorders. Look around. Another one says, if it is epilepsy, I don't understand their decision. Every seizure you have makes it more difficult or likely that you will have more. It definitely can get worse if untreated. Atonic seizures can be very difficult because you just fall. Even simple partial focal seizures can affect you in a lot of ways and make your life miserable. I don't know anything about your myoclonus, but if it's epilepsy, it's very serious. I would see an epileptologist at a different hospital. Here's an interesting one, guys. It says, how can I help my mom during a seizure? My mom had epilepsy basically her entire life. I'm 17, I've grown up taking care of her, but I have no idea what to do. Nobody ever bothered to tell me how to handle this, so I need some advice on how I can help her. I'm not even sure what kind of epilepsy she has. That's how little I've been told. This hasn't been a problem in the past since her seizures weren't that frequent. But in the past few days, she's having 7+ seizures a day. Though they're all pretty light, and I don't know how to handle it. I have to go with her everywhere. I really don't know how to help her with a seizure, especially in public. She gets very disorientated and doesn't listen to me when it happens, and I'm not strong enough to stop her from just leaving or harming herself during a seizure. In the past, it was enough for me to just sit by her for a little and explain what was going on when she asked. But all of a sudden, all of that was at home. I'm not usually, but all of that was at home. I'm not used to handling this outside. Any advice is appreciated.
I have to apologize. Just got a message from my doctor. Can you condense and run that past me again?
The person's mother's having seizures. She's been taking care of it her whole time, for 17 years. Yeah, she's been taking care of it the whole time. She has no idea what to do. She doesn't know what kind of epilepsy her mother has. She wasn't worrying about it as much because the mother wasn't having them as frequent. But the past few days, she's having 2 a day, and 7 a day,
Mm.
7+. They were pretty light, so she doesn't know how to handle it if she was to go in public. She said her mother gets very disorientated, and she couldn't stop her even if she was trying to leaving from leaving or harming herself during a seizure. She's basically said it's easier to handle it at home. She just needs advice. How can I help my mom during a seizure? Get a
Wow.
caretaker. At that point, I think you need help.
Well, she doesn't know what kind of epilepsy she has. That's telling me they may not be seeing the right doctor. I'd highly recommend getting to an epilepsy center and have that reevaluated because she might not be on the right meds. You know, it's about 80%. It's that simple. You know, she might not, let's say she's been taking Tegretol. What is that? Oxy, whatever, for the entire time. What, 27 years? And never changed her medication. We all know that that's not always the case, even if you don't have medication resistant epilepsy. So, especially females, our bodies change, our hormones change. She might just need a different medication. Helping her during those seizures, a basic seizure protocol, but I can understand not wanting to go out, you know. That's why I don't go out. It's like I don't know when I'm gonna get those shakes or, you know, just that funky feeling where I'm like, where am I? So I don't go out much lately. But yeah, it sounds like they need to kind of get some more precision on the diagnosis. And how do you help? Basic seizure protocol. Give her some gummies. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely get her reevaluated and on the right track. It's usually just these transition times when when everything's kind of up in the air, when you don't feel like going out. You can always try to get that little bit of social life back together and feel comfortable doing so when you've been 2 weeks kind of knowing what to expect. So that's the first step.
Yeah,
Try to get
sometimes reading some
something
of
that
these, I see how like certain things I might put on people without even trying. Um, then again, people also know about the seizure, so it's not my fault. But some of these people I do feel for. When they talk about how they do feel like a burden and stuff like that, and then there's those people who are telling us, like the lady we were just talking about. She said, you know, it's her mom, and she's been doing this her whole life and doesn't really know much, which is still rough to be doing this for so much time and not to exactly know what's going on. 17 years. Yeah. To have 7 in a day for 2 days in a row, that could be a lot of a person who doesn't understand what's going on or why. Hey,
Yeah.
Reese. How you
Maybe.
doing?
Hey, I'm doing all right.
Always good to hear.
One of those days, but it's fine. How are all you?
So far so good. Decent day. Um, luckily I'm not having one of those days, but I hope you're gonna feel better really soon. I think you will being here, but
Appreciate that.
yeah.
I see it's a small group so far. I I was assuming it was gonna be more people, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's only the beginning.
Yeah, it's one of those days, just not feeling fully myself. Got a bite on the inside of my mouth. Not sure if that's a seizure bite or just I don't know. We'll we'll see what that turns into. Um, but yeah, just kind of tired, feel crappy, mad at my coworkers. So it's all the things.
just a
But
work thing, or are they?
oh, I've been pissed at them for months, if I'm honest. Since I got back from my incredibly long medical leave, none of them have treated me the same. It's been one of those things where I don't want to be the one who's pissy, who's like, oh, you're treating me differently because I had brain surgery, but like they're treating me differently because I had brain surgery. So it's it, it's been a particularly bad example of that this week. So, you know.
Yeah, that's tough. Definitely to feel like you're coming back to different standards, that's for sure. So the
Yeah.
icebreaker today. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say none of them seem comfortable talking to me anymore, really. So it's very lonely in
Um,
addition to just being tough. But yeah, uh, by all means, whoever was gonna talk next.
I was gonna ask you, how long you been working there, and what exactly do you
Oh,
do?
I've been there for years. I've been there since I was in grad school. I started as a temp when I was in grad school. So that was like, I want my my brain is telling me 5 years, but I know it's so much longer than that now. How many years have are we since COVID? Um, God, it's got to have been like
It's been 6 officially.
7. It's got to have been like 7 or 8 years now that I've been there.
Oh, so you were there before COVID.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was there like 2.5 years, maybe, like before COVID.
Did you ever get COVID?
No, not did I? No, no.
Lucky you. Me either. Um, lucky us. Um, what do you do again?
I am a copy editor slash copywriter. I
Hmm.
started as a copy editor and then slowly just kind of took over into copywriting. And now they're kicking me back into not even copy editing. Now I'm just doing proofreading, which people tend to not know there's even a difference between copy editing and proofreading, but there very much is. So, yeah, that's I'm
Hmm.
just looking for errors like in capitalization at this point.
Yeah. That's interesting. What exactly goes into copywriting? I might need some copyrights. How do you go about that? See you later, Raven. Like, what does
Hi.
copywriting entail?
Copywriting is um like is writing specific kind of usually it's usually ads based stuff, but it's just a certain kind of material. So it's like God, how to describe
Is it
it?
like only
It's
doing magazine articles or?
no, copywriting is, I suppose, what I don't know if magazine articles would be included in copywriting. I don't know, but it's just a certain. It's just
How is it different than proofreading?
proofreading is making sure there aren't any errors, like any just like bloops, like, oh,
Right, a
there's
missing comma or run-on sentence.
well, no, that's the
Oh,
thing. So proofreading is making sure there isn't like, oh, there's an X here where there isn't supposed to be one. Copy editing is making sure the grammar is correct. So that's making sure there isn't a missing comma or run-on sentence. You can kind of get into working on the way it's written a little more with that. So, like, if you're making sure there isn't a run-on sentence, then you get into rewriting the sentences a little bit. So that gets a little more intricate than proofreading might be. And then copywriting is the actual initial writing of the copy.
okay. So basically, after all the errors have been cleared out.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know. That might be too much technical information that's not necessary, but the basic point is
Okay.
that it's all a bunch of garbage, but I am now not allowed to do any of the more technical garbage.
Still helps to know every little bit.
They had been slowly like working me up to doing more stuff before my surgery, and now I'm just not
Oh, that's what I
doing.
was going to ask. When do you think, at what point in your career do you feel like you had a chance at like your full potential, basically?
Well, so we were kind of talking about it, not fully, but we were beginning talks about me kind of starting my own team and being sort of a manager to a certain extent. So, like, I would be working on my own sections and, like, taking care of my own stuff. And that is not happening. I don't know if the plan is just gone or if that's just something that they're putting off until my surgery is complete, or and that's their excuse, or if I don't know. I don't know what they're doing, but I am very much going in the opposite direction. So, and
Okay,
they
so I
brought
mean, maybe for the
in,
time being, they're at least like a good reference. Have you ever considered maybe starting to send out some resumes?
yeah, I don't know. I've
Well, that's
got
a really
several.
good field. It seems like flexible because you might have a lot of options of remote work doing that kind of
That's true.
deal.
Because yeah, it's something that I can do from home, which makes it
Yeah.
a lot easier to do remote. It's been a lot easier. Like like today, I wasn't feeling great, so I just went out. I just took off a couple hours earlier, and it's like if I had to go in to work, that wouldn't have been as easy to do. But
Oh yeah, flexibility is a big deal with schedule.
yeah, it still just sucks to know that people are gonna treat you like that, though. Like, I made that post in there's like a Teams, I think is what it's called, is what we use to keep in touch with everyone. And so that's where you go and make posts if you're like making any change to your schedule or like whatever you're doing. And it sucks to make a post saying, "Oh, I think I just had a seizure. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal." But they're kind of exhausting, so I think I'm going to take off a little early today. It's kind of sad to make a post like that and only get like 2 responses. Like, I don't want people to freak out, but at the same time, it's like, I said I had a seizure. No one has anything to say. Like, no one wants to say, like, feel better, hope you're okay.
Well,
Nothing.
I'm surprised they haven't, like, I don't know, whatever the word is, but reiterated to you that, under all these ADA protections, you don't have any obligation to tell them when something happened. Literally, all you have to say is, I don't feel like I can work right now. So using Teams, I guess it might look like kind of a short post, but I was under the impression that we only had to say, I'm gonna need a couple hours, or I might see you tomorrow.
Mm.
Something to that effect. Especially being on Teams, it'll be more, well documented. You'll have the time, and if anything, they less room, less wiggle room for them to dispute you acting, you know, basically finding a reason to whatever, reprimand you.
That's a
Because you
good
can
point.
prove this is
I
what happened, and told you right away.
yeah.
So the icebreaker for today was, what's your favorite thing to do after a bad seizure?
Just sleep. That's all I like to do after a bad one. It's almost all that I can do after a bad seizure. But just sleep where it's quiet, dark. I don't want anybody touching me or talking to me. I'm one of those.
I like to be alone too, but I'm probably the only one who doesn't like to sleep. I don't know why I have this, you know, hang up about going to sleep. I'm, not gonna wake up after a bad one. I never want to go to sleep. I'll get a cold shower before that, and if family's too uncomfortable with that, I'll make it a bath. Like we'll compromise somehow, but I'm gonna do what I have to do to stay awake for 4 hours.
What is it that you're not supposed to go to sleep right after?
You could have a concussion and not know it.
Okay.
Bleeding in the brain, then you just don't wake up. How fun does that sound, huh? Hey, Jeff, welcome back.
Thank you. Back in my natural habitat.
There you go. There's your natural habitat.
Yep.
I got
They
something.
were having a
Is how do I cope when people do nothing? Recently got screwed over by my brain and had my first TC in a couple of years. Luckily short, uninjured, and got to recover at home. The next day I was spending some time with friends because I don't make smart decisions post seizure and started feeling an aura. I told them and started looking for my meds in absolute panic. I was crying in fear and they didn't even look up. Didn't do a damn thing to help or comfort me, just acted like it wasn't happening. They knew all about my seizures. I trusted these people. We haven't, we have to come, we have to have some much trust that people will help us and really thought I could count on them. I don't know how to talk to them about this. or if I even should. Maybe this is a cut my losses type of scenario. But it really hurts to be abandoning people because I don't want to bother them. I don't want to bother with them, and I with something I can't control. How do I move forward or move on? I've had some people do that, and I think I just couldn't say just move on. I mean, now I would, but back then I was just like, yeah. But if you have people around you and you're saying you're feeling like that, and you tell them you're feeling bad, and they're just kind of, all right, keep going about their day, they're not really supportive. It's not really a support system. Not to leave those people because I didn't, because they were family in particular, but it can be hard just to walk away from certain people, certain crowds or groups. Yeah, just gotta know how to deal with certain people. I've learned that. You gotta learn how to deal with certain people around other people. Thoughts on walking away? I mean, not on necessarily walking away, because I'm the one that'll walk away from people.
I would think it's all
No,
about
I
weighing the
mean,
pros and cons.
I feel the struggle. My first couple seizures, my close friends slash roommates didn't respond. They were very calm about it, almost didn't respond at all. And they're kind of proud of that response, even now. And I obviously did not cut ties with them because they are still my closest friends. But it's tough that they think that was the right way to respond. It's strange because we're very much similar insofar as we don't want to make a big deal out of these things. So I'm happy that they didn't do that and continue not to do that. And they are proud that they're able not to do that. But at the same time, there's a middle ground, you know? There's freaking the fuck out, and there's completely ignoring it. And then there's not making a big deal, but making sure the person's okay and taken care of. And my wife totally knows how to tread that perfectly. You know, she even the first she's super lucky. The first time that I spent time, she lived like 2 hours away from me, I think, when we first met. And the first time we were spending a weekend together, I had a seizure. So she got super lucky. But even the first time, like, she understood how to handle things well. Like, pay attention, make sure that everything's okay, but be chill about it. And then just be like, hey, how you feeling? You cool? Like, what's up? You know? And then for the rest of the weekend, she wasn't like all over me, like freaking out. She was just like, hey, you chill? let's watch a movie. Like, it's just finding that middle ground.
Yeah, I
Fortune.
mean, go ahead, Jeff. Have you ever had to make those kinds of decisions?
No, I was going to say, it's easy for me at my age to say find better friends, but I can't picture myself in that situation. I mean, I would say talk to them, but obviously he told them how he felt already. So I mean, there's little hope of me. You know, it seems that it's not going to be uh, a relationship that's going to benefit all. It's certainly not going to help him. Uh, but I couldn't put myself in that situation. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Well, it makes sense to
go ahead.
No, I mean, I was agreeing with what Jeff said to kind of recognize which ones aren't going to come back, which ones are not salvageable if they already knew how you felt and continued to kind of handle it the wrong way. Hey, we got James here. What's up?
Yeah, I think just telling those people, um, they could have been more supporting. You could have been like, this is going on, and like I've told people that, and they'd be like, okay, we're gonna keep an eye on you. I also think this person might be, um, I'm not saying overreacting, that is not the word, but sometimes when you're put in a position like that, you might look at it as more serious to you than it is to them. You know what I mean? Um, Person might not be overreacting. I'm not saying overreacting, but it may not have looked as bad as it is to you as it did to them. They might have been like, you kind of look okay. You're not giving us that look or something. Yeah, you don't want people to sit around in panic the whole time. So if they're just kind of doing them and you're like, I don't feel okay, but I'm not having a seizure, but keep an eye on me, that could be cool. But I don't just count people out like that. I'll be like, you guys, this is gonna happen. And yeah, people don't be like right then and there, then let me know, okay, we're not cool with being around this. And yeah, and people are hard to deal with. Just gotta, yeah. Some people gotta give their space, and some people you gotta know how far and how close to put them.
That's another reason a lot of times I wish I wasn't diagnosed so young, or I didn't start so young. So maybe I would have had a little more life experience in knowing that people really aren't just replaceable. So even when they're acting like, what's wrong? You okay? And I'm expressing that I want some independence. I don't want somebody checking on me all the time. That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna want that support eventually or need it. So
Yeah,
always
that's
definitely
another.
take into account like what good support you do have because that's not just replaceable.
I think if this person does talk to their friends, um, I don't think they'll think this person how this person felt. They'd probably be like, okay, we didn't understand how serious you wanted us to be about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We didn't understand the severity of the situation, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That could be another
Yeah.
thing. Like I'm thinking, if I was that person, I think, okay, yeah, they are being kind of mean, but I can see that this person isn't thinking. Talk to them about it. Um, that's the thing. You got to talk to them about it before you decide to walk away from a situation, because they could have not known it was as serious as it is. Because this is also the invisible disease, and um, yeah, they don't think it's as bad as in our head as it is visible. So yeah, before you walk away, talk to maybe one or two of the friends. Let them know you felt it was kind of wrong. You need a little more support than they provided. You felt like things could have been a little different. Yeah, don't just walk away. First, talk to people. It's always good. So you don't want to walk away and then people think you avoided them. But go ahead. Oh, hey, Kevin. Hey, James. The icebreaker today is
Hey, what's up, guys?
Kate got you with the icebreaker.
How you doing?
We'll go Kev first. Pretty good. Glad to see you. What's your favorite thing to do after a bad seizure?
After a bad seizure?
That's cool if you don't remember because
Oh, no, that's fine.
Exactly.
Uh, I I always take a bath, or I need to be around water, or and comfort foods and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's always water. I like to be around water, warm water that comforts the bones, and because I never had usually two in a day, two grand mal seizures in a day. So yeah, that helps me. Makes me feel good.
Kate said cold water. So that's different.
Mm.
Yeah, my reasoning wasn't so much comfort, but staying awake, making sure anything to kind of get more awareness.
Oh,
I'm on the fence about everything because I thought maybe taking a cold shower would be cool. But then sometimes I want to take a nap. Sometimes I want to just smoke and take a nap. Sometimes
that
that's how it
works.
plays out. That's how it plays out. So
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say too, Pookie, is for me, yeah, after you know, a bigger one or something, I obviously like every muscle in my body hurts, my head hurts. All I want to do is just like lay down, take a nap, like you said, maybe smoke a little bit, get a little bit relaxed. Um, Sometimes I feel like super dehydrated or something, I might just like chug a cold bottle of water or something, but generally for me, it's just laying back down in bed or sitting here and just reclining in my chair and throwing something on YouTube or something just to kind of relax too. But yeah, like you were saying, it usually don't remember, the instant after it. It takes me the good 15 to 30 minutes to really recognize what's going on. And then at that point, I generally already got, somebody around me kind of suggesting, how about you lay down? How about you have a drink of water? So it's just kind of, and your head is so out of it that at that point you're just kind of going along with, the people that obviously are around you and that know you and care about you. And you're just like, I feel like shit. Just let me, yeah, sure. I'll do what you say. Just let me lay down.
yeah. Uh, with me, I think the headache, it helps. If you let the headache for last too long for me, I pretty much get nauseated. So the weed helps with like the pain go away a little bit with the headache, not too much because you have that headache that lasts for so long. But for some
Yeah.
reason, when I'm having that headache, it feels like the weed is somewhat soothing me. It's helping me calm down, not moving as much.
Yeah. I don't sit there and smoke it and expect like all of the problems to go away and for me to feel, better instantly or something, like I'm getting like medication like through an IV at a hospital. Like I know that's not going to happen just, smoking a little bit, but it's obviously it's gonna help, right? It's not gonna make the headache worse. I mean, maybe there might be some people out there that maybe it does. That's, whatever, everybody's body's different, but generally it's gonna help out for most of us, in that situation, right?
Yeah,
I guess that's why I always get hungry afterwards, because that, I don't know, I feel like I need nutrients of some sort. And I know fast food isn't very nutritious, but it's something. And it's easy to eat. It's soft and, you know, not to get too weird about food, but uh, the hamburger patties are just soft and easy to eat. You know, yeah, I know. Not too challenging on the tongue. So, yeah. That's
You know,
my choice.
I
Yeah.
no, yeah, I definitely feel you because, like, yeah, like I said, like after like sorry, I'm taking my shoes off here. After like some grand mal ones, you know, my body does, you know, a lot of seizing and moving around, and I'm sore. It feels like I just, you know, spent an hour at the gym or something. Um, and I've had a couple of days where I've had multiple in a day. My worst day was I had three like full grand malls within about 6 hours. So after that third one, I was my body was done. Like I was literally like sore for the next like 2 days. Like it felt like I was like, you know, like an athlete training for the Olympics or something. Like I was just dead sore. Like even trying to like stand up out of my chair, I was just like, oh, okay, I think I can do this. Yeah, you know, it was like that bad. So yeah, depending on how violent they are and how much your body moves around, you're yeah, you're gonna have some different feelings after them.
For whatever reason, mine have been like changing what I get, the kind I get, when I get them, whatever. Um, and when I started getting clusters, like that shit's clusters are not fun. I think I had like 3 or 4 in a day also, and that shit's exhausting. Also, one
Yeah,
of them, I
I
fell
feel you.
in my friend's cat box, and
Oh,
that was embarrassing. I'm not thrilled about that one. But
I can
yeah.
imagine.
I don't I mean, I don't think I ate anything after those because I think I got taken to the hospital because that was my first cluster. But yeah, that shit's no. Clusters are not fun.
Yeah, for the day I was talking about where I had yeah three, um luckily I had family around, and after the third one they were like, yeah, James, F you, you're going to the hospital. I don't care what you say, how mad you get at me, we're going to the hospital. So it was like for those ones when they happen like that close together, at least for me, because I've had a couple of other days where I've had, you know, two within a few hours or so, but it almost seems like you barely have time to like kind of recover and realize what the hell's going on from the first one, and then your body's like, oh, you're used to it, okay, well here's the second one. You know, deal with it, biatch. Like, like it's just like your body just keeps throwing it at you, and yeah, you barely have time to
Yeah,
grasp one
exactly.
thing
Like
before
just
another
as you
one comes
start
and
to feel better, your
punches you.
body's like, which this is unrelated kind of, but that's what they're doing with my brain with my cyst. Like just as I'm getting better from the first surgery that went to all hell, they want to do another one to take the other half of the cyst out, and I'm like, fuck y'all. Like I I got to have a nice summer where I got to slowly feel like a person again, and now I'm just barely starting to feel like a human. And now they're like, "Oh, would you like to come in and have a
And do this
meeting
all over
to
again.
to schedule another surgery?" Yeah, so great stuff.
Sorry to hear that. It's good to meet you. Let's see, Reese. I don't think sorry, I just jumped in the group recently. I just jumped on today. I didn't really get to hear much of your story or see most of your posts on Reddit yet. So
Oh, yeah, I don't think we had officially met yet. Um, yeah, my story's a long one, unfortunately. I got a lot of crap, so, someday. But hold on, I'm getting a call.
Her story that she got a call.
hey, so let's lighten this up real quick. Every posted that today was supposed to be Casual Friday, and we were gonna wear some Hawaiian shirts.
forgot about that.
why am I the only one that attempted it?
So I forgot. My
I'm
hands
wearing
were
Hey,
a.
sweaty.
I'm
I
always the
see a
one that's
tropical
all
pattern on what Kev.
I
I'm the one
always
that's
wear
always
this
all
though.
dapper and everything.
Well,
Sorry
today it
about
fits in with the
that.
theme.
I have Tinkerbell Epilepsy Be Gone shirt today, but I can't
Oh my
figure
god,
out my
that's so
Ooh,
pants.
cute. How are
nice.
you
I
My
doing, Annie?
can barely sit up right now. I'm like,
aw.
Oh,
um, I have to, they're comparing all of my EKGs right now because it looks like I'm one of the rare ones with Xcopri, and I'm like on watch. Literally, my doctor is watching my watch, and he sends me messages. Are you okay? What are you doing? You know, but the pattern in my heart irregularity was so severe that it set my alarm off on my watch. And I have never been diagnosed with AFib or any other heart condition. So the only thing that changed was the Xcopri. And then we dropped the dose a little bit, well, 100 milligrams off my dose of Vimpat. So it could be seizures or it could be my heart. So I guess we're going to set all that up next week, figure out what's going on. And, but I think I'm more scared than anything. It's like, what the holy, why do I have to be the, what do you call it? The 00, 0.0001. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, lucky guy. He got me for a patient, right? So I cannot take Xcopri. I
But in
found
your
that out.
case, you will find that those professionals out there who are genuinely interested in this for the right reasons for that, because you are that margin of a patient.
Yeah.
So,
And is it so marginal? And we had that conversation because this is one of the reasons that it was delayed for approval. And it's still questionable. But yeah, like you said, Kate, this is something it's like, okay, let's take a deeper look and keep a closer eye. And I'm like, I don't feel good, but I'm kind of sneering, haha, told you so. I'm the one to watch. But yeah, so I'm just beat. I really am beat. Just hanging on.
And it's better that they found this now before the surgery than you went
Well,
under the
yeah,
knife and were put out.
and my
So,
primary said, and I know this from, other people that I know, that many times this condition called QT shortening isn't diagnosed on its own. Something triggers it, or it accidentally appears on an EKG. And I had an EKG yesterday at 2:30, and the first warning I got on my phone was at 3:59. So it wasn't even 2 hours later. That should have shown up on my EKG. And it's like, okay, is it QT shortening or was I having seizures? Then it happened overnight. And apparently the pattern I'm going to move with you guys. I got to get a drink. Cotton mouth. Um, the pattern in the irregularity doesn't look like AFib. Um, apparently it looks like my good old deadly seizures.
okay, so somebody actually did analyze this already.
Yep. And
Oh,
sorry guys, but he's going to look at it more because he noticed in the health, help me here, the brain thing in the hospital, help me. Yeah, in the EMU, I had the same patterns happen in my sleep. And he's like, I have to increase your risk of SUDEP by 500%. So I'm just like trying to process that right now. But I can stop the Xcopri because I was only at 50 milligrams, and then put the Vimpat back where it was. So back to the blank slate, a couple of benzos to get me there. Ouch. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, I'll get there. It definitely disrupted things. So, but I tried it. I tried it. I said I wouldn't, and I did. And I'll shut up now.
My only question is, do you think that they were honest with you about interactions? How many medication interactions are really known about Xcopri so far? Has anybody heard, like, what came to mind was the clobazam and levetiracetam doubles or triples the risk of DRESS, one of those other
Right, right. Well, it's
yeah, so
not.
how much do they told you about Xcopri with that?
Well, that's why they have to. I knew about that, and yes, we did talk about that, but that's not what's happening here. It's an irregular heart rhythm. So, it's just the way it showed up and how it looks. It could be either the Xcopri or the reduction of the Vimpat, because reducing the Vimpat, it usually takes me within 17 to 20 hours, I start seizing. And he looked at all of those time frames and he said it could be the Vimpat because we dropped my dose by 100 milligrams a day, and that might have been too fast. So it could be seizures that are popping up. But yeah.
I don't know if you were here when I mentioned it the other day, Annie, but yeah, at one point, I'm still taking the Keppra. They had lowered my dosage on that. They were weaning me off of the Vimpat while I was going on the clobazam, as well as them taking me off phenatonin. So there was a couple of weeks. I know I've said this before. Sorry for those who've heard it, but it was like a couple of weeks there where I was zombie mode. I was on four separate ones, at the same time. Obviously, some were stepping down, some were stepping up, so it wasn't like a full high dosage of everything, but still, four of those
Right.
damn things in your system at one time. I mean, we all know how even just one or even two can kind of screw with us. So those couple of weeks are
Oh yeah.
barely me
The
remembering
zombie mode. Yeah, I can.
existing. It was yeah.
Sorry.
I would say it
I
wasn't a
can.
fun time, but I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't remember it.
Yeah. Oh, I know. The last medication change I did was lamotrigine over to Vimpat, lacosamide, and that was tricky because lamotrigine is known for moodness. Okay, but this time, um, yeah, I don't even know where to go with this. This is something that we should have done like 5 years ago. I needed better treatment, and I haven't been able to get it right here where I am. But totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, the zombie mode. I can handle zombie mode, but what's happening right now is my heart rate. My heart rate is going from the low 40s to the high 140s within
Oh,
seconds
wow.
for up to 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah,
And
that's a big deal.
yeah, and it happened yesterday, in late afternoon, and then it happened again overnight 4 more times. So I have my doctor linked with my Apple Health app, and all he had to do was look at it. And yeah, we're not quite sure what this is because we're not seeing any QT shortening. We can't blame it on the Xcopri. We might be able to blame it on the reduction of the Vimpat. So we're just going to wash the Xcopri out. But I can handle being a zombie. I don't care. I have Netflix, okay? Let's face it. So, but the heart rate, my heart rhythm, looking the way it did, that's dangerous. If it does it again, I'm going to the hospital. I'm not even questioning that. And those who know me know that when I say that, I mean that. It's like, okay, guys, you gotta fix this now. But yeah, it's the heart rhythm that's the problem. But the zombie, I can prepare for that. You know what I mean? And I did, knowing that I was doing a med change. We have meals prepared that are in the freezer, stuff like that. I don't have to do anything but take a shower. But yeah, I just don't like the idea of what my heart rhythm is doing.
Was this the first test for that doctor to reply to you to an alert?
What's that? Was it
Was
the
this the
first
first
time
time
for
that doctor, yeah, actually had to, or actually got around to replying to an alert? I've always been kind of skeptical on how effective those might be.
I don't know because I let them know first.
Oh, okay.
And then the reply in my chart was we saw that
Okay.
and we were gonna call you. What's going on? Blah blah blah. And I just let them know in my chart that I was having trouble talking because I don't know if this pain is my shoulder or is it my chest, stuff like that. And I was getting really like short of breath and breathless. So they're like, no, we're getting on the phone. You got Zoom, and that was it. So there's the Zoom call, and I'm like, dude, it's only like 7:45 in the morning, and I feel like I just got beat up, and I don't know what's going on. So that was the PA, and she had the doctor look at it. He had another doctor look at it, and then my primary sent over well, they don't send it. Um, they got in on the EKG that I had done yesterday, just a few hours before this started. So then they looked at EKGs from before, and it's like it doesn't look, yeah, it doesn't look like it's a what do they call QT shortening, but it's definitely an irregular heart rhythm. So it might be seizures. I don't know.
Okay, so
I don't
still
know.
no substitute for being your own advocate, calling when something happens.
Yeah, and don't wait. I mean, I, the, the quicker I fix my fear, the faster it goes away. So I was terrified, but I'm still scared. This could cancel my shoulder surgery, but I'm more scared that something could happen when I go to sleep.
And thank God
500%.
you're not in an outpatient situation where they wouldn't have been able to care for you properly.
Exactly.
That would
But
have been the absolute worst case.
yeah, and I'm so glad that he said that. And I think that was my primary sucks.
All right. Well, welcome to Mark and AJ. We've got a fun icebreaker for today. Mark's up first. What's your favorite thing to do after a bad seizure?
Uh, Sleep. I mean, there's after a bad one, there's not really much else that I can do. Um, I mean, if not sleep, then just roll up in a blanket and watch Futurama or something, like one of my comfort shows. But yeah, I don't know. That's really the only two go to um uh post seizure things that
Dude,
I've
dude,
ever
Mark, that
recalled.
that early episode with Fry and his dog, and it explains like why he's in the cryo chamber.
Uh,
That's what episode I'm talking about, right? Like his like explanation story about why he's in the
yeah, the
future.
dog.
That that
Yeah,
that still gives me a little bit of a tear each time watching it, man. I've seen that thing
that
like 10
song
times. That's
is that
such
whole
a
montage at the end.
yeah,
Like
at the
no
end it just shows his
spoilers, but
dog just
the very
sitting there
end, it
waiting
just
for
I
him to come
can't.
back. Ah,
If you don't at
Jurassic
least
Park.
choke up,
that gets to me,
you're
man. That gets
like
to me.
yeah. Yeah.
Normally, my instinct here would be to divert the conversation into just what your favorite comfort TV shows are, but I did want to whine first about how I got I think I got a text and a voicemail, which made me sad that they were barraging me. But I got a message yesterday from some kind of doctor. I don't even know what kind because I have a million doctors about how I'd been referred for neuropsych testing from my neurologist, who is like my base neurologist for epilepsy. And I'm just having a spiral about how everyone wants me to do everything and thinks everything is wrong with me. Like I think I know what neuropsych testing is insofar as I think I've done it before, but I don't really know what neuropsych testing is, and I don't know why they want me to do it. I don't know what they think is wrong with me, and I'm. So, what are your favorite TV shows?
Was that directed at anybody in particular, or?
Favorite
Oh,
TV
that's actually
shows.
a really good point, Annie.
Yeah, they need a baseline before your surgery, honey. So don't take it personally. This is part of the process. Do not be afraid when they say neuropsych because they want to see how your brain is functioning and your cognition is, okay? It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, when I did neuropsych eval, a big part of it was like hand-eye coordination things. There was, I remember blindfolded and had these various objects and holes and stuff, and kind of get the shape in the hole, and they time you. And there were some, I mean, some questions and stuff. The neuropsych evaluation is what, that led to sending me to a psychiatrist in addition to my neurologist, and those two worked together and led to my diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome at the time, which was just a complete side note, not to imply anything about you personally, but um it was productive. It was learning additional things that I did not even know um, to look for. So there was that, as well as, just establishing a baseline. Uh, it was when I was 15 years old that they did it, and they informed me that I had the reaction time of an 80-year-old man. So way below the curve in terms of reflexes. But it just, you learn some stuff about yourself, and the doctors get to know how things are going. So it's nothing to worry about, like Annie said.
Those make me feel better. So thank you, both of you. I I was just worried. I don't know. I I you know how things go. You just convince yourself. And I just got to a point where I was like, everything's going wrong, and now they want to know what's happening. So, yeah, good to know.
I'm glad you put that out there, Miss. But yeah, no, you'll probably have to do it again after so many months after the surgery, because they have to have a baseline. It's like a starting point, and they can see if the surgery had any negative or more positive effects for you. But yeah, just like Mark said, I mean, some of the stuff, it depends on your history too. But you know, it's like you said, they give you some simple tasks to do, and then trying to do things blindfolded, that was a joke. So, but you know, just funky things like that, nothing to be afraid of.
Okay. That doesn't sound too bad. I mean, I still just feel like we're all finding out more about our brains than everyone else has to, and I would rather not. But it is what it is.
I gotta look at it in the other way. Nobody else gets to know as much about their own brains as we do. Like I think that's kind of cool. So,
That's a good way to think of it. I think I just come from, I think it's the family I come from, and it's like we just like to keep things under the rug. So I need to teach myself not to be scared. I don't know.
well,
Let
talking
me,
about it is the first step.
yeah, really helps. I was gonna say, let me know when you figure that one out, please. I'm like freaking out right now.
Okay, I got some. It says, rejoining the world. I developed epilepsy 4 years ago. I live on a farm and lost my license, thus lost my job as an RN. Fast forward to now, we moved to the city.
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.